Unleashing a storm of rock and roll thunder and comedic brilliance, there exists a duo of mythic proportions, a musical force that defies all controversial boundaries. These two are the masters of power chords, cliched rock lyrics, and absurdity. The self-proclaimed greatest band in the world didn't always boast such grand titles. In fact, they came from humble beginnings, and their journey was full of hard times and unlikely victories. This is the epic journey of Tenacious D, the comedy rock duo that's become a worldwide phenomenon with its explosive talent and delightful absurdity. An unlikely duo. Jack Black and Kyle Gass are an unlikely duo. The two met in the late 80s, with both of them part of a Los Angeles theater company called Actors Gang. Their friendship started as some rivalry because Kyle, the main musician of the group, felt intimidated by Jack, who regularly brought recordings of jingles to be used in their stage productions. The two eventually bonded over music, but it took them a couple years before they started to write any music of their own. They eventually wrote their first song, a ballad, after Jack got dumped by his girlfriend. Although the two became embarrassed of the song, they occasionally sang it during interviews. Their second song started when Jack Black listened to One by Metallica. He said that it was the best song in the world, and since he couldn't write the best song in the world on his own, they wrote a tribute. The duo spent 3 days arranging the song. Once they finished the song, they realized they were comedic geniuses. In 1994, the band experienced their first live performance in a dive bar called Al's Bar in Los Angeles. In that performance, they called themselves the Axe Lords featuring Gorgazon's Mischief. They performed just one song at that one gig and instantly generated momentum on the Los Angeles music and comedy scene. They performed headline shows at bars and even opened for comedic acts. Jack said what they were doing was performative art and that they didn't need to record an album. As someone who enjoyed performing, he knew they'd be big just with their high energy and funny performances. They later renamed themselves Tenacious D after the famous NBA phrase Tenacious Defense. They'd then be discovered by fans and other musicians who helped them get into the spotlight. A quick rise to fame. Throughout the mid and late 90s, Tenacious D saw themselves become a popular act on the local music scene. Maynard James Keenan, the lead vocalist of the band Tool, even found out about the band and instantly liked them. They invited Tenacious D to support them on their California concert dates. This was Tenacious D's first time supporting such a large act. Pete Stahl, the lead singer of the band Scream, also became a big fan of Tenacious D. He encouraged his friend Dave Grohl to visit the Piper Room to see Tenacious D, who've become regulars in the venue. Dave originally didn't want to go, but suddenly changed his mind and saw the band perform. He was surprised to admit that he enjoyed it. That was the start of a significant relationship between Dave and the band. It even led to Jack and Kyle appearing in the Foo Fighters' Learn to Fly music video. Although Tenacious D was gaining popularity, even to the point of opening for high-profile acts like Pearl Jam, they weren't free from criticism. Whenever they play a show, they thought that they, as well as the crowd, were having the best show of their lives so far. However, they'd always be greeted by reviews saying otherwise. This didn't stop them from continuing and having a time of their lives, though. Although Jack thought they didn't need to record their songs, Kyle convinced him. They recorded 4 songs and released them in a demo tape called Tenacious Demo. They distributed the demo to various record companies, but it was HBO that made a move on it. Tenacious D in full swing. HBO found the Tenacious demo and thought it would be an excellent springboard for a show. Mr. Show writers David Cross and Bob Odenkirk joined forces to create episodes based on the band and the few songs they released. The show was called Tenacious D and premiered on HBO in 1997. A total of 3 half-hour episodes were aired, but the show was supposed to have 10 episodes. According to Kyle, HBO canceled the show after butting heads with the duo about their role as executive producers. HBO wanted Jack and Kyle to focus on writing the songs and just let the company handle everything else. The two sides couldn't agree, so the show had to stop. Tenacious D continued their music career, touring and performing all over California. In 2000, they even signed to Epic Records, where they started to work on recording their first album produced by the Dust Brothers. The band initially wanted to record an entirely acoustic album because they liked how they sounded live. However, the Dust Brothers, with the help of Dave Grohl, managed to convince them not to go that route. Jack later said they chose that route because no one's ever heard us as a band. For the self-titled album, they were backed by a full band which included Dave Grohl on drums and guitar, Warren Fitzgerald of the Vandals on guitars, Paige McConnell of Phish on keyboards, and Stephen Shane McDonald of Red Cross on bass. Most of the songs on this album came from early versions of the songs heard on the HBO TV series with the same name. Some songs were also a tribute to famous rock icons like Ronnie James Dio. The song Dio somehow mocked him for his age, but Ronnie liked it so much that he asked Tenacious D to appear in their music video for the song Push. The duo released their self-titled debut album in 2001, which peaked at number 33 on the Billboard 200. While the album gained general success, the path to this milestone was riddled with challenges. Jack and Kyle found themselves amid issues that threatened to derail this endeavor. The duo was first worried about how the album would pan out, given that piracy was rising around the time they released the album. However, they did get through that predicament, given that the album later received platinum status. What greatly bothered them was whether to go on the road so soon after 9/11, because the album was scheduled to be released 2 weeks after the incident. They didn't think it'd be appropriate to tour, especially since people weren't even going out then. The problems didn't stop when the album was released, because they had to experience album recalls because the cover was too controversial and inappropriate. The cover features the duo standing naked below the devil. The pose they did was similar to those on demonic tarot cards. The Pick of Destiny. With the success of their debut album, Tenacious D continued to bless the world with their comedic and lyrical genius. However, a long-held dream simmered in their hearts. They wanted to bring their musical escapades to the big screen. In Jack Black's words, a movie that would be a pinnacle. In early 2003, the band signed a deal with New Line Cinema to create a Tenacious D movie. Liam Lynch would be the director, while Jack and Kyle would write the script and work as producers. Later that year, Jack announced Tenacious D in The Pick of Destiny would be the title of the movie of their dreams. He shared that the story would revolve around the band's search for a sacred guitar pick. The movie premiered in November 2006. The movie's soundtrack was called The Pick of Destiny and was also the band's second studio album. Although the film had a solid fan base anticipating it, Jack described it as a bombed film. It had a $20 million budget, but only grossed short of $14 million worldwide. However, when the movie was released on DVD, the sales showed that the movie did garner a cult following. In conjunction with the launching of their new film and album, Tenacious D set off on the Pick of Destiny tour. As part of the tour, Tenacious D made their first appearance in the iconic Madison Square Garden in New York City. Unlike previous tours, this one featured a full band. And they return. Following the band's busy schedule with The Pick of Destiny, they decided to take a short break that really turned out to be longer than expected. During this break, Jack focused on his acting career while working on their next album in between. Even Kyle Gass gained acting credits during this time. They returned in March 2012 with a 6-minute film on their YouTube channel. The mockumentary was called Tenacious D to Be the Best, and followed an absurd string of events, from Kyle breaking down to his attempt to kill Jack. This mockumentary was a teaser to their next album, Rise of the Fenix, released in May 2012. Later that year, the album was also nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Comedy Album. In the same year, when asked about a potential sequel to Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny, Jack hinted at an animated sequel, saying they found a loophole with the internet and animated shorts. This project was merely a thought for the duo for many years. However, the Donald Trump presidential campaign inspired them to write a post-apocalyptic comedy they released in 2018. The band released an animated web series called Tenacious D in Post-Apocalypto on their YouTube channel with 6 individual episodes. Jack physically drew each frame for the project using markers and notepads. Along with a web series, Tenacious D released their 4th studio album, Post-Apocalypto, in November 2018. The album featured songs and audio snippets from the animated web series. While Tenacious D's web series gained a significant following, the fate of their album took a different turn. It was called aimless and not a good album by various music critics. But as they always do, Tenacious D went on. In September 2021, Jack hinted at a next album, saying, "It is a very big idea that we've been working on for years." No other details about the album's release have been made public, but the duo went on a 2023 tour called the Spicy Meatball Tour. They kicked it off by performing 2 new original songs, which would probably be part of the next album. Then, May 11, 2023, Video Games debuted online through a 3D animated video. This is Tenacious D's first new music video since 2012. Things are looking up for the band, with much to be anticipated from them. In the records of rock history, few tales are as captivating as that of Tenacious D. From their humble beginnings as comedic performers to their meteoric rise as the unrivaled masters of comedy rock, Jack Black and Kyle Gass have become musical legends in their own right. Through their explosive talent, determination, and creativity, Tenacious D defied the boundaries of conventional music and forged a path of their own, something that they'll always be remembered for.